Hello all of you wonderful people, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and I've got a little question for you to kick things off today. Why do we play video games? I know that we can say escapism, wish fulfillment, but you know what? I think that at its core we play them because we desire to win at something. However, video games can't just give us this happy feeling on a silver platter because we have to earn it. And because of this, that means that there has to be some relative level of risk, hence why deaths and game overs are so common throughout the industry. Yet, let it be known that not all deaths in video games are epic, almost made it, but unfortunately the odds were against us kind of moments, but instead they can be the outcome of some of the most stupid and ridiculous decisions that we, the players, have ever made. So let's take a look at the times where we kicked the bucket, but not before standing in it first. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are the 8 dumbest ways we've all died in video games. Number 8. Surprise QTE, baby! Resident Evil 4. QTEs, not just what robots call hot babes, but also the abbreviated term for quick time events, aka the one mechanic that everyone hates, but for some reason still finds their way into modern video games. Although, at least this is better than the early 2000s in which QTEs were everywhere, even in the outstanding and quite possibly best Resident Evil game, and say it with me, of all time, Resident Evil 4. From boulders smashing Leon into just a fringe to not quite making a jump in time, sporadic and sometimes confusing QTEs will pop up across your adventure. However, the moment I know killed all of us at least once was during the battle against Krauser, because to be honest, there were so many of the bloody things it was almost impossible to have got them right in the first attempt. It's actually a bit of a shame because without these inputs the fight is so well choreographed that I'd actually have preferred it to have been a cutscene, although that is my one complaint in an otherwise perfect game. Number 7. Timeout. Thanks, Barrel. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Time limits are pretty much love it or leave it kind of things. In some situations, they can add to the tension of a situation or create a frantic rush to complete your objective in time. But in other situations, well, they can be nothing more than arbitrary nuisances, sitting there counting down in the corner, reminding you of your own mortality. Well, here in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, however, in one level, it was a genuine threat and annoyance all rolled into one. Brilliant. In the game's now infamous Carnival Night Zone, the player will come up against the dreaded red spinning barrel, and at this point you've never seen one of these before, so you have no idea what it does. You try spinning into it, you try attacking it and jumping all over it and find that nothing works. Inevitably, your time will start to sap away, slowly creeping towards the 10-minute timeout limit. The tension will rise and you'll cry out to Sega to have made things a little bit more obvious, only to finally realise about 9.5 minutes deep that you need to be on the barrel and tap either up or down. Of course. Thanks. Number 6. Swan dive into the pavement. Tomb Raider. Lara Croft has to be one of the most empowering female protagonists in gaming, thanks to her strength, confidence, and intelligence. But in addition to her top-tier charisma and Liam Gallagher-style specs, she's also a bit of a show-off. I mean, does anyone really need to pull themselves up from a ledge and into a handstand? I mean, that's just making fun of my lack of core strength. You could also make her do cartwheels or even swan dive off of jumps to have a little extra style when hitting the water, or as we all most likely found out, the ground, resulting in an hilariously unintentional death for many. And it can come in many forms. Maybe you were just trying to show off but didn't have the accuracy, or maybe you were trying to pretend that you were in GoldenEye and swan dive down only to realise at the last moment that yes, you were in GoldenEye, but you were Sean Bean. Either way, it was ludicrous and stupid each and every time. Number 5. Eating a delicious oily fish. NIER AUTOMATA. Did you know that salmon has omega-3s in it? Quite a lot of them, in fact. And did you also know that androids can't eat fish, so stop trying to force-feed them this, you goof? That last bit there was basically the internal monologue to NIER AUTOMATA potato patata each and every time that you try and have one of our heroes munch on a mackerel, for it will indeed kill them dead. It's not clear whether it was the little fishy bones or the fact that androids don't have stomachs like we do, but it's a pretty deadly fish dish through and through. Still, you can ignore this item's description and pop a perch in their paunch only to be punished by them perishing, because Square Enix clearly has a good sense of humour. Well, a good sense of humour that also comes with this message: androids can't eat fish, you moron. Confirm. And you know what? A lot of us did. Number 4, indoor fireworks and ladderless pool parties. The Sims. The Sims is pretty much the ultimate dollhouse. I'm sure the designer's intention was to create a serene and engaging toolkit, one for you to reimagine a utopian mansion wherein your partner still finds you funny even after 10 years of dating, just like in real life, right? It's all meant to be joy and calm, but that's so boring. So of course people immediately started looking into how they could bin their Sims in the worst ways possible. Things start off simple enough, a swimming pool with the exit ladder removed, maybe a lone fireworks set up in a basement full of lovely flammable bedding, but eventually you're crafting bizarre single-person wide rooms with no doors, watching Dan from high school repeatedly wet himself because he fucking deserves it. That's what you get for pulling my shorts down and pee, you little prick. Long story short, curiosity kills the cat, and this time it's you with the whiskers. Number 3, messing with the wrong NPC. South Park: The Fractured But Whole. When you look across the wide expanse of video game NPCs, you might think that they're all just, a bunch of useless cretins for how many times that quest lines have been broken thanks to their programming bugging out, or how many times they've stood in your way, quite literally, as they won't get out of the doorway, or just how annoying they can be recycling the same lines of dialogue over and over. So you can be forgiven for wanting to fuss-ro-dar those useless lumps over the horizon in a cathartic release of pent-up rage, right? Even if they're invincible, giving them a few uppercuts to the chops is just going to feel so good. Well, maybe you should be more careful with those slaps, my friend, because if you so happen to annoy Morgan Freeman in the South Park Fractured But Whole game, well, you're going to unleash the hardest boss in the entire title. Although, to be honest, you clearly had this coming because it's Morgan Freeman. Why the hell would you want to slap him? Number 2, death by snoo-snoo. Mass Effect 2. Now, we've all heard the term man-eaters when applied to a person who simply loves going full bore when it comes to the carnal pleasure of hiding the ham, but Mass Effect 2 took things probably a little too literally with this one, as during your adventures you'll be introduced to Morinth, daughter of Samara, who offers to join your crew should you decide to help her kill her mother. Now, this option might sound completely boneheaded, seeing as Samara has been nothing if not a loyal companion, but things definitely come to a head if you decide to side with Morinth and then pursue the bone, if you know what I'm saying. For while your new partner states that you are one in a million and unlike anything that she's ever seen before, this doesn't mean that you're exempt from her mind-melding ejaculate in your pants style death. For you see, having sex with her will kill you, and the game tellingly lets you know this is a bad idea with several options to back out before the deal is done, but the laughable offer of death by stimulus overload was clearly too much for some players, and of course they hit that critical mission failure once Shepard had, embraced eternity. And number 1, being run over by the ambulance that should have been there to save you, GTA. So my favourite dumb way to die is without a doubt what I'd like to refer to as the ambulance of irony. Now, usually seen in the Grand Theft Auto series, but frequently pops up in other open world games such as Saints Row, this is where an ambulance or any type of medical vehicle arrives on the scene in order to save someone who has just been injured, only to cause an even worse accident. Isn't it lovely to play a game where there's a literal 50-50 chance of the emergency services killing you? It's terrifying, right? Still, it's a dumb way to die that I bet has happened to a ton of us over the years. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 of the dumbest ways that we've all died in video games. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. If you want to chat to me further about all other things to do with stupid video game deaths or anything else, you can do so over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0. Or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice. It's my personal gaming channel where at the moment I'm playing through a Fallout New Vegas run, and trust me, I am dying a lot thanks to a ton of mods that I've added in. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. We detailed today about dumb ways that we've all died in video games, and you know what? I would hate to be sitting here doing this video if I thought that there was somebody out there that was throwing their life away for a less than valuable reason. Because you know what? At the end of the day, there is no reason to throw your life away. It is your life to live. It is the one chance you get on this big blue and green marble, so make it count. But sometimes I can understand that things will get a little bit too much, especially with everything that's going on in the world at the moment. But just remember, you're not alone. You don't have to deal with all of these problems solo, and there are people out there who desperately care about you and want you to do well. Friends, family, professionals in the support industry, all of them are there if you're able to open the conversation with them. So take some time out, be kind to yourself, both physically and mentally, and don't throw your life away, because you're worth so much more than that. Now go out there and smash it, you big ledge. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.